Theory 1. The wildest theory. Iron Man was always Doctor Doom. What if everything we believed about the Marvel Cinematic Universe's greatest hero was completely wrong? This theory turns the MCU on its head. It claims the Tony Stark we followed from Iron Man 1 to Endgame wasn't Tony at all, but a variant of Victor Von Doom. He was pulled from another timeline, adopted by the Starks, and planted in the sacred timeline as part of a plan by He Who Remains. To stop Doom, one of the most dangerous beings in the multiverse, He Who Remains had to erase him completely. So, he takes a younger, less corrupted version of Doom from a parallel universe and places him into Earth 616 as Tony Stark. Raised by the Starks, he becomes a genius billionaire and eventually joins the Avengers. In this theory, the entire Infinity Saga isn't about redemption, it's about control. This Doom variant believes he's Tony Stark, becomes Iron Man, and sacrifices himself to defeat Thanos, erasing the one thing that could destroy all of time, his true identity. But here's where it gets dark. After his death, reality begins to fracture, not just because Iron Man is gone, but because the true Doom legacy was never allowed to rise. With Kang defeated, the multiverse unravels. Timelines that were pruned start to bleed, and Tony's buried past begins to claw its way back. Now, this variant is waking up resurrected by the multiverse, revived by Kang Tech, or rewritten by time itself. And when he returns, he remembers who he really is. This time, he's not here to save the world, he's here to rebuild it in his image. It may sound insane, but look at the meta breadcrumbs Marvel's been leaving for years. Back in 2005, before RDJ ever became Iron Man, he auditioned to play Doctor Doom in Fantastic Four. Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau even mentioned it in Iron Man's anniversary video, saying Robert had come through for Doom before they even considered him for Tony Stark. So, what if Marvel is finally cashing in on this? Feige loves meta storytelling. We've seen it with Ralph Bohner in WandaVision, Channing Tatum's Gambit cameo, and every multiverse tease since No Way Home. Marvel knows fans remember these moments and want to make them scream when the pieces click. That's why RDJ's return in Avengers Doomsday isn't just nostalgia, it's the twist. The Russo brothers said, "There's nobody else who could play this version of Doom like Robert Downey Jr." That's a huge statement. It means Doom will feel, sound, and move like Iron Man because maybe he was him. And here's the twist. This fits perfectly with the Iron Man comic storyline, where Doom tries to redeem himself after Tony's death by becoming Iron Man. He wears the suit, fights evil, but people don't trust him. They know deep down it's not the same man. Now, picture this in reverse. Tony Stark dies, then returns, but he's not Tony. He's Doom, finally taking the legacy he was denied. So, how does this all fit together? It begins with the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, and the cracks starting to show in its control. With Kang gone and the sacred timeline collapsing, the entire system starts to fall apart. Timelines once pruned begin to leak, variants break free, and the void, the ultimate graveyard for reality's mistakes, stirs back to life. And this is where Doom steps in. Now fully awakened to his true identity, Doom realizes his rise was stolen. The TVA didn't just prune bad timelines, they erased him. They replaced him with a puppet, giving his face, his future, and his arc to another man, Iron Man. And now, with everything collapsing, Doom wants it all back. He infiltrates the TVA, maybe hacking their tech, corrupting the remaining hunters, or simply walking through their shattered gates, fueled by Kang's tech and his own dark sorcery. His goal? Not revenge, not domination. He wants his place back in the multiverse. And to do that, he targets the Void and the Citadel at the end of time where Loki sits, literally holding the multiverse together. He's the only thing standing between total collapse and order. And Doom plans to take that throne. If Theory 1 is true and Tony Stark was secretly a Doom variant, then his death in Endgame didn't just end a saga, it shattered the multiverse. And that brings us to Theory 2. Theory 2. Doctor Strange made Doom million futures seen again. We're told that Strange is just watching, scanning outcomes to find the one where they win. But what does watching really mean? Is he just observing, like flipping through timelines? In Multiverse of Madness, we learn that reality is fragile. Incursions, collisions between timelines can destroy entire universes. Small decisions can spark chain reactions that tear worlds apart. So, what if Strange knew that? What if he didn't just observe, but nurtured one path, pushing timelines to intertwine? choosing a reality where the final war wasn't just against Thanos, but the multiverse itself. And here's the twist. Strange isn't afraid to take risks. He's the same guy who risked all of reality to get Peter Parker into college. So, what if, instead of just wanting to win, he wanted to break the multiverse, letting something better rise from the ashes? Here's where things get real. We all love Tony Stark, the genius billionaire who started it all and gave his life to end it. But let's face it, he created Ultron, broke the Sokovia Accords, and invented time travel. He opened doors we still don't know how to close. And it all began with one moment: his sacrifice in Avengers 1. But that wasn't just heroic. It was a spiritual collision. Tony saw something beyond the stars, and it changed him forever. Now, connect the dots. In Age of Ultron, Tony says his vision wasn't a nightmare, it was his legacy. What if that vision wasn't from Wanda? What if it started in space, when Tony touched the cosmos, and something or someone touched him back? What if it was Victor Von Doom? There are multiversal leaks suggesting Doom's influence over Tony, maybe watching him across timelines, leaking knowledge into his mind, and Strange would have seen it too. He'd know the path where Tony becomes too powerful, too reckless, and begins collapsing the timeline from within. So, what does Strange do? He chooses the future where Tony dies not just to stop Thanos, but to stop what comes after. He creates a timeline where Tony's sacrifice clears the way for a replacement, and that replacement is Doom. Here's where Multiverse of Madness gets crucial. We see that Strange caused an incursion, a collision between Earth 616 and Earth 838, threatening both realities. But what if that wasn't an accident? What if Strange wanted it? He knew the multiverse had to be reset, and the only way to do that was to break it first. Look at 838. They defeated Thanos, but their world was still at risk. There's an empty seat on their council, said to be for Kang. But what if it was meant for Doom? What if that world was a place where Doom was Iron Man, or where his mind lived in Stark's tech? Maybe Strange pushed the incursion here, knowing it was where Doom would rise. It's the ultimate gamble. Break reality just enough to reveal who's really pulling the strings. Now, where is Doom? Why haven't we seen him in 838 or 616? Because he's hiding in the void, the TVA's dumping ground, the back door to the Citadel at the end of time, where Loki holds the multiverse together. Strange knew this. He didn't just see a future where they won, but one where Doom was left behind, waiting. When the time is right, Doom will escape. He'll march on the Citadel, face Loki, and try to take his place as the anchor of the multiverse. If he wins, Battleworld begins a new reality created by the man who once lived in Tony Stark's shadow, now the god of timelines. This theory changes everything. Strange didn't just pick a path to victory, he chose controlled collapse. He planted the seeds of Doom's rise because he knew the multiverse had to break to be saved. And now, we're seeing it all unfold. If you've made it this far, let me know in the comments. Was Strange right, or did he set off the biggest disaster the MCU has ever seen? Hit that like button, subscribe for more Marvel madness, and remember, there was only one way, and this was it. So, if Strange built the timeline, what if Doom's already in it, hiding in plain sight as Tony Stark? This is Theory 3, the Doom Imposter. Theory 3, the Doom Imposter. Clear. Robert Downey Jr. is returning in Avengers Doomsday. But what if he's not just playing a Tony Stark variant? What if he's playing Dr. Doom, pretending to be Tony Stark? Not a copy, but Tony's actual corpse, resurrected and hijacked. Here's how. In Multiverse of Madness, Wanda introduced dreamwalking, projecting your consciousness into another version of yourself across the multiverse. Wanda destroyed every Darkhold copy. But that doesn't mean dreamwalking is gone. It just got harder. Dr. Doom isn't just a sorcerer, he's a genius and one of the most dangerous mystics in Marvel. He's even been Sorcerer Supreme in the comics. If anyone could dreamwalk without the Darkhold, it's Doom. Here's the theory. Dr. Doom finds a way to dreamwalk into Tony Stark's dead body at the moment of his death in Endgame. He possesses it, revives it, and returns to the sacred timeline as Tony Stark. This is straight out of the Reverse Flash playbook. In The Flash, Reverse Flash killed Harrison Wells and impersonated him, manipulating Barry from within. Doom does the same, but on a cosmic scale. He enters the Avengers' lives wearing Tony Stark's face, same voice, same personality, same memories. They believe it because they want to. After losing Tony, seeing him alive again would break them emotionally. Peter would be devastated. Rhodey would hesitate. Strange might suspect something, but no one is prepared for the truth. Especially when Doom, as Tony, helps the team, earns their trust, rebuilds them, and then when they're united and vulnerable, betrays them, kills someone, and drops the mask. Here's the kicker. We might have already seen this coming. RDJ was spotted with mocap dots on his face in a behind-the-scenes Instagram photo, even though Tony Stark is supposed to be dead. But what if those dots weren't for a clean Tony? What if it's for a burned, half-decomposed version of Tony's face from Endgame hidden under the mask? That's why Doom wears the Iron Man suit not to honor Stark, but to conceal what's left of him to slip back into the world. So why go through all this? Because Doom has one goal: become the anchor being of Earth 616. In Deadpool and Wolverine, we learned that anchor beings stabilize their entire timeline. When Tony Stark died, Earth 616 began to crack, and with it, every other universe. Doom finds a loophole. He doesn't just become a variant of Tony, he steals his body and reclaims the throne. But Doom isn't done. He infiltrates the TVA, takes Kang's tech, and combines it with his own magic. His goal isn't restoring the multiverse, but reshaping it in his image. That's how Battleworld begins, a twisted reality forged by Doom from dying timelines. To pull this off, Doom needs one thing: Loki's power. Loki's holding the multiverse together at the Citadel, and Doom wants that throne. A cosmic race begins. The multiverse collapses, realities fold, and cities vanish. The Avengers, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and the X-Men all have one goal: stop Doom. But Doom isn't racing. He's already walking through the void, his armor crackling with stolen Stark tech and Kang's energy. Each step warps time. Each breath erases possibilities. He's already won as Tony Stark. Now, the heroes face a god who built Battleworld while wearing the face of the man they swore to avenge. One throne, one god, one final stand.